Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're tackling a question that's on a lot of your minds. Can you actually afford a $250,000 house in 2026? It feels like just yesterday that $250,000 could get you a pretty decent starter home in many parts of the country. But with the way the market's been going, is that still a reality, or has it become a fantasy? Let's dive deep and break down the numbers, the trends, and what it really takes to unlock the door to a home at this price point. First things first, we need to understand the major factors at play. We're talking about interest rates, home price appreciation, and wage growth. These three elements create the affordability puzzle. For the past few years, we've seen a wild ride. Home prices soared, and then interest rates climbed to levels we hadn't seen in over 2 decades. It's been a double whammy for first-time buyers. So what's the forecast for 2026? Well, nobody has a crystal ball. Many experts predict a market that's stabilizing, but not necessarily getting cheaper. We might see home price growth slow down to a more normal pace, maybe around 3 to 5% a year, instead of the double-digit jumps we witnessed. Let's use that as a starting point. If an average home costs, say, $220,000 today in a certain area, a few years of steady appreciation could easily push it to that $250,000 mark by 2026 now. Let's talk interest rates. This is the real game changer. The difference between a 3% rate and a 7% rate on a mortgage is massive. On a $250,000 loan, it can mean a difference of hundreds of dollars every single month. The consensus is that rates will likely come down from their recent peaks, but probably in return to the historic lows of 2020 and 2021. A more realistic expectation for 2026 might be somewhere in the 5 to 6% range. Okay, let's do some math. We'll be conservative and assume a 6% interest rate for a 30-year fixed mortgage in 2026. So, who can afford $1,600 Australian dollars monthly payment? The common financial rule of thumb is the 28/36 rule. It suggests your housing costs shouldn't exceed 28% of your gross monthly income, and your total debt payments shouldn't exceed 36%, using the 28% rule, to comfortably afford a $1,600 monthly payment. Your household needs to bring in a gross monthly income of about $5,700. That translates to an annual household income of roughly $68,500. Now, does that sound achievable? For some, absolutely. For others, it's a significant stretch. According to recent data, the median household income in the U.S. is hovering right around that mark. So, for a median income household, a $250,000 home is right on the edge of affordability, maybe even slightly out of reach, especially if they have other debts like student loans or car payments. This is the reality for the average buyer in 2026. But what about that $50,000 down payment? That's a huge hurdle. Saving that much money is a monumental task for many people, especially with rent and the cost of living on the rise. It could take years of disciplined saving. This is often the biggest barrier to entry for homeownership. Not just about the monthly payment, it's about having the upfront capital to even get in the game. However, there's good news. You don't always need 20% down. There are many programs designed to help. FHA loans, for example, allow for down payments as low as 3.5%. There are also down payment assistance programs, or DPAs. These are often state or local government grants or low interest loans designed specifically to help first-time buyers cover their down payment and closing costs. These can be incredible tools. So before you get discouraged by that 20% number, do your research. Look up your state's housing finance agency and see what programs you might be eligible for. You might be surprised at the help that's available. Let's also consider location, because in real estate, it's everything. A $250,000 home looks completely different depending on where you are. In high cost of living areas like San Francisco or New York City, that amount of money might not even get you a parking spot, let alone a condo. But in many parts of the Midwest and the South, $250,000 can still buy you a lovely single-family home with a yard. So the question of affordability is intensely local. If you have the flexibility to move or are considering a more remote-friendly career, you could dramatically increase your buying power by looking at more affordable regions. So let's put it all together. Who can afford a $250,000 house in 2026? It's not going to be easy for everyone, that's for sure. The ideal candidate would be a household earning somewhere between $70,000 and $85,000 a year, depending on their debt and the down payment program they use. They will have a good credit score to secure a favorable interest rate. They've either been diligently saving for several years to accumulate a down payment, or they've actively sought out and qualified for a down payment assistance program. This buyer is also savvy. They understand their local market. They're willing to look in up-and-coming neighborhoods or consider a smaller home to get their foot in the door. They're not just dreaming, they're planning. They've spoken with a lender to get pre-approved and understand exactly what they can afford. They've built a budget that accounts for not just the mortgage, but also maintenance, repairs, and utilities. The bottom line is this. While the dream of owning a $250,000 home has become more challenging, it is not impossible in 2026. It requires more strategy, more planning, and more financial discipline than it did a decade ago. The days of casually strolling into homeownership are likely behind us, at least for now. But for those who are determined, informed, and prepared, that key can still be within reach. The path is narrower, but it is still there. What can you do now to prepare? Start by cleaning up your credit. A higher credit score can save you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Next, start saving aggressively. Set up an automatic transfer to a high-yield savings account every payday. Even small amounts add up over time. And finally, get educated. Talk to real estate agents, meet with mortgage lenders, and research assistance programs in your area. Knowledge is your most powerful tool. The housing market is always changing, but the fundamentals of smart financial planning remain the same. A $250,000 home in 2026 isn't a given, it's an achievement. It's for the planners, the savers, and the diligent researchers. It's for those who are willing to put in the work. Thanks for watching today. I hope this breakdown gave you a clearer picture of what to expect. What are your thoughts? You think a $250,000 home will be affordable in your area in 2026? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button. And subscribe for more content on navigating the world of real estate and personal finance. See you in the next one.